What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. I know you guys could probably already tell it is going down. Just by that title alone, y'all definitely gonna want to see this one, as we got CBS host Margaret Brennan proving to us that she did zero prep for the interview with incoming border czar Tom Homan in this newest update, guys. And I'm just going to say things did not end well for her, guys. I'm excited to get into it. So now I'm straight into it. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we even get into it, you guys hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button for your boy. And without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
We go now to Tom Homan. He will serve as Mr. Trump's border czar, and he joins us this morning from Naples, Florida. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Deportations are now at a decade high. They were at the end of 2024, nearly 300,000 people deported by the Biden administration. The incoming administration has promised the largest deportation operation in history. What's the number? What's the measure of success?
Well, let's talk about this administration, what they claim is a huge deportation number this year. Actually, if you drill into the numbers, about 80% of those numbers were actually Border Patrol arrests that the enforcement move operations of ICE process and move back across the border. They weren't internal enforcement arrests. If you look at the historic number of illegal entries the last 4 years, ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, has the lowest number of deportations in the history of the agency. So they're playing a numbers game, just like they play the numbers game and the number of people coming across the border.
Okay.
So even though they claim we got the highest number of deportations, look at those deportations, who actually made those arrests, who actually removed those people. It's not ICE.
Okay, it's still a higher number than the Trump administration, but I want to ask you for the incoming.
Listen to him, guys. Already, Margaret Brennan trying to push her narrative. Incoming border czar Tom Homan is not allowing it, putting his foot down, saying, hey, this is not ICE. This was not interior arrest. This was all along the border by the Border Patrol officers. I mean, come on, guys.
Okay, it's still a higher number than the Trump administration, but I want to ask you for the incoming Trump administration, what's the measure? It is not deportations at the border. You're saying you are going to measure success by people who are already internal in the country to deport. That's how you're going to measure it. And what's that figure?
Well, again, let's get the numbers straight. You say they were higher than Trump administration. This isn't about how many get deported, because Trump had illegal border crossings at a 45-year low. So of course removal is going to be lower. The number is how many were released into the United States that are now in the country illegally. Under Biden administration, we have millions of people released in the United States who have lost their hearings, and we have millions of people that are released in the United States despite a statute saying that you cannot be released in the United States without proper documentation. You shall be detained. So you can compare the numbers of deportations under Trump versus Biden, but when you consider a 45-year low in crossings, of course the number of deportations is going to be lower because we don't have that population to process and deport.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to measure success going forward. For day one, can you help us understand what the plan is? A number of industries in this country hire undocumented workers because they are cheap labor. On day one, are you going to restart raids on work sites, on construction sites?
The President Trump's been clear, as I've been clear from day one, that President is going to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. And have you heard from your previous segments, we have a huge national security issue in this country. The southwest border has become the biggest national security vulnerability we've seen in this nation. FBI Director Wray agrees with me. We know there's people in this country who pose a national security threat. They've arrested a record number of people on the terrorist watch list, a 3,500% increase in people on the terrorist watch list being arrested at the border. We got over 2 million known gotaways. We know 2 million people crossed the border, weren't arrested, weren't vetted, weren't fingerprinted. So you got to ask yourself, why did 2 million people pay more to get away? Why didn't they pay less, turn themselves into Border Patrol, get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice, get a free hotel room, get 3 meals a day, get free medical care?
I'm not disputing that it is a hemisphere-wide crisis. We're talking about how you're going to deal with it. That's why I'm asking you, when you say criminals, does that mean you are going to go into already existing prisons?
And this is the part that really just mind boggled at. You're telling me known criminals, and to my knowledge, all of these illegal migrants, are they not criminals, once they cross that border illegally, turns you into a criminal. So technically, all of these criminals need to be sent back. It just does. That's the part that really I'm just hung up on. How do these folks not see or, relate these folks with being actual criminals? It's a crime they committed.
You are going to go into already existing prisons at local level and deport people who are in those prisons? Are you going to go to workforces? I mean, how do you know where the criminals are, I guess is the question. And if they're working at a work site, are you going to show up to surprise them?
Well, look, we know where a lot of the criminals are. ICE they're great at this work. We know where some are, but they simply haven't been able to go arrest them because of Secretary Mayorkas' priorities. It handcuffed ICE. So we know where a lot of criminals are. They've been prevented from arresting that we're going to arrest starting day one. As far as being in jails and prisons, we would love to work in local jails, but sanctuary cities won't allow us into those jails. It's much easier to arrest a public safety threat and the safety and security of public jail than out in the street, because the officer is safer that way, the alien is safer that way, the community is safer that way. But sanctuary cities who continues to release public safety threats back in the community, to the immigrant community, it puts that community at greater risk of crime. And here's what's going to happen when we go to the community and find that person, find that criminal alien, he's probably going to be with others will have to arrest. So it's not safe for the community, not safe for the officers, not safe for anybody. Let us arrest a bad guy in the jail cell where you chose to arrest somebody and put him in a jail cell because obviously he's a public safety threat.
Okay, what you just said in there, it sounded like you were talking about collateral arrests. So you're going to target people you know are criminals, but if they happen to be living in a house where there are other undocumented people, you're going to sweep them up too. That's what I think you were just saying.
Her tone is just really getting underneath my skin right now. It's so condescending. On top of that, you can literally tell she did not prep whatsoever for this interview, sit down with Tom Homan. She just thought she was going to get a bunch of gotcha questions off, and she just thought she was going to get a bunch of gotcha questions off, and Tom Homan is not playing around with her. Good for him.
Where there are other undocumented people, you're going to sweep them up too. That's what I think you were just saying there. I wonder how you're going to parse out some of those collateral arrests. For example, will dreamers be protected? Donald Trump has said he wants to work with Democrats to protect them and give them status. That takes a long time in Congress. What do you do in the meantime? How do you make sure they're not caught up in a dragnet?
Look, every person ICE arrests, they do what we call a fugitive operations spreadsheet. They know exactly who they're going to arrest. They know exactly where they're probably likely to find them, and they have a lot of information on that arrest. Other people that are there that may be illegal, they'll handle by case basis.
Okay.
The concentration, I want to be clear, on some public safety threats. If more agents in the jails means less agents in the neighborhood. That's why I'm pleading with sanctuary cities. Let us in the jail to arrest the bad guy. That way you're not forcing in the community. So, if you go to an immigrant community and ask them, would you rather have ICE operating in your local jails or would you want them in the community? What do you think they're going to say? They don't want bad criminal aliens in their neighborhoods either. So let us work with the jails. Let us work with law enforcement. Sanctuary cities are not safe for the immigrant community. They're not safe for our officers.
Okay, so that's like Secure Communities Act kind of action. But then where do you send people? Because some of these countries like Venezuela don't accept deportations right now. Mexico's president indicated her country might be willing to receive non-Mexican migrants who are deported. How does that work? Does the U.S. pay Mexico to then ship those people off somewhere else?
One thing I do find to say, I'm sorry I'm cutting off Tom, but these countries don't even want, I find that that's the funniest thing, these countries don't even want these folks back. Their own so-called citizens, they don't want them back, but they're more than willing to accept the U.S. dollars to take these folks in. This whole situation is just insane. Let's hear what reporters Tom Homan has to say on it.
Well, first of all, we got President Trump coming in the Oval Office, and he's during his first administration, his leadership on illegal immigration was a game changer because, for instance, El Salvador wouldn't take back MS-13 members when I was the ICE director. It took President Trump 48 hours to get El Salvador to take back their criminal aliens into their prisons. And Mexico didn't want to do the Remain in Mexico program, but President Trump was able to remain in Mexico, established in Mexico. He was able to get Mexico put military in the southern and northern border. President Trump's a strong president. This administration has not forced these countries to take them back. And we have what we call a third safe country. We already have countries talking about taking back people from other countries. If for instance, Venezuela don't want to take their people back, there's other ways we can do it. There's other countries be willing to accept them. We're hoping that President Trump will work with Venezuela and like he did with Mexico and El Salvador and get these countries taken back. If they don't, they're still going to be deported. They're just going to be deported to different countries.
Yo, there we have it. Incoming borders are Tom Homan set on his mission, their agenda to go ahead and deport anyone that came over across our border illegally, and rightfully so, guys. We got that CBS host Margaret Brennan trying to push that narrative. I think she started off with a lie and just lied throughout that entire thing, trying to catch Tom Homan up or trip him up on his words. It's not clear to me how she hasn't known the agenda since this has all been laid out since before the election was decided. I'm not sure if she just woke up from a coma or what's going on there, but to try to, tout Biden administration for deportations is insane when they've let in way more illegal migrants than Donald Trump's administration. The comparison is apples to oranges, night and day. Honestly, not sure when these legacy media outlets like CBS will get the hint. Their viewership is literally tanking, going straight towards the dumps. And it's all because they don't have competent and sensible hosts conducting these interviews. We're seeing that right here, you guys. Definitely hop in the comment section though. Let me know your thoughts, what you're making of it all. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one.